Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you had a marvelous evening last night as well. We've got some incredible information to go over today. First of all, the judge appointed in the Flynn case by rogue Judge Sullivan, basically his own personal prosecutor to continue the case despite the DOJ asking for it to be dropped, has filed his brief. We have the sauce on it. We're going to go over that today. Also, Attorney General Bill Barr has spoken out on the behavior of rogue Judge Sullivan. We're going to see what he had to say about it. Also, we had a new document dump last Friday. We talked about it a little bit on the program. It included emails between Ben Rhodes and Jake Sullivan as they joked about being liars and putting fake information out into the public on the incident in Libya, Benghazi. Plus, we did find some more information. Apparently, Obama's ODNI and other agencies did a review of Hillary's emails back in 2009. That's right, they all knew about it as far back as 2009. So what does that mean? She had tacit approval, and it's no wonder that the DOJ and the FBI under the last presidential administration chose to do nothing about it. The mid-year exam was nothing more than a scam. Also, finally, we're going to be going over a thread from Brian Cates. I personally was told last weekend that arrests have started to happen. I haven't seen anything about it in the public, but I have noticed that that rally that was supposed to be held in Washington, D.C. over the weekend kind of fizzled out. Where were the millions of people that were supposed to be there? I think they had something like 10,000 when they actually showed up. So we're going to be going through Brian Cates' thread, and we're going to see what might be happening behind the scenes. All right, guys, please, everyone, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Father's Day is finally here, and now you can let Dad put floodlights anywhere he wants around the home or office without spending a fortune. The brand new ultra-bright wireless floodlight with motion detectors makes it easy to illuminate all the dark spots in your yard. You can install it anywhere because it's wireless, and you never need to worry about buying batteries because it's solar-powered with a powerful battery storage pack. The Night Solar Light Ultra-Bright Wireless Floodlight is the perfect outdoor light because it's a floodlight with motion detectors, and it doubles as an entertainment light for the patio and barbecue with a click of a button. Take a trip to the hardware store and you'll find out the average cost per outdoor light is around $50, and then installation could cost between $70 and $120 per light. That's almost $200. Now, unless you're okay with spending a few $100s for floodlights, then options previously were limited. Now you can light up your home with a Night Solar Light wireless floodlights and enjoy more of your yard in the evening. Plus, you'll have peace of mind knowing your property is safer. Best of all, you don't have to spend a fortune to do it. You can get Night Solar Light wireless floodlights with motion detectors for as little as $13.64 each during Home Safety Week. That's a total savings of 52% off, plus you get free shipping. So visit nightsolarlight.com. That's nightsolarlight.com and get Dad the perfect gift this Father's Day. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we have the brief that has been filed by the judge appointed in Michael Flynn's case by rogue Judge Sullivan. And this man, of course, is Emmett Sullivan's personal prosecutor. That would be John Gleeson. Earlier today, he filed his brief. Now, remember, the Department of Justice itself asked that the case against Michael Flynn be completely dropped. He was framed by Comey's FBI. They wanted this dropped because there was no evidence that Michael Flynn had done anything wrong, and to add insult to injury, there was exculpatory evidence that was withheld from General Flynn and his legal team so that he was unable to present an adequate defense. Not to mention the fact that Covington and Burling, his former legal team, did not work in his best interest. Now, Sullivan has solicited the amicus briefs and appointed a retired Clinton judge, John Gleeson, to argue against the government's motion to dismiss the case against General Flynn. It is absolutely unprecedented. Now, in his brief, Judge Gleeson called the DOJ's dismissal of General Flynn pretextual and a gross abuse of prosecutorial power. It absolutely defies logic. I can't understand how he thinks he's going to get away with this. Now, we have a tweet thread here from Technofog, probably the best source to go to on Twitter for information about the Flynn case as it drops. He recommended that Flynn be punished for taking back the plea. That is Judge Gleeson right right there. He also recommends that Sullivan consider the reversal of the plea to be considered in fashioning the appropriate sentence for the false statement offense. He also says that he doesn't believe that Flynn has the right to defend himself, and that Flynn's frontal assault on the integrity of the investigation was deliberately obstructive and reflects a complete disregard for the judicial process. Now, U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr on Tuesday blasted Sullivan for targeting Flynn with a shadow prosecutor during a sit-down interview on Fox News with Bret Baier. He told Baier that it is up to the executive branch to prosecute, calling Judge Gleeson an alternative prosecutor. The argument is that it's always been understood that decisions whether to pursue an individual through the prosecution process or to hold them criminally accountable is vested in the executive branch and not in the courts. And he is, in our view, essentially trying to set himself up as an alternative prosecutor. Now, let's go ahead and listen to a clip from that interview where Attorney General Barr gave his thoughts on Sullivan and Gleeson and an update for us on the Durham investigation.
Turning the page here to the Durham report and wondering when that is going to come out. You're now a few months away from an election, and there's some expectation that there's going to be at least some bombshells in there about the investigation of the investigation into Trump collusion.
Well, I can't address expectations. I can say that even with the disruption of COVID and the fact that our court system has essentially been shut down for a few months, the Durham team has been working very aggressively to move forward. And as I've also said, this isn't being driven by producing a report. We are trying to get to a point where we can hold accountable anyone who crossed the line and committed a criminal violation. So that's, I think, would be the initial stage of a resolution of Durham's investigation. But I also think that there will be public disclosure in some form of report at the appropriate time.
From what you've seen, crimes have been committed?
Well, I can't say,
All right, now thanks to Benny Johnson for supplying that clip. Attorney General Barr has such a wonderful poker face. That guy does not give anything up. First of all, and this is a point I have continued to drive home, this is not a report. This is an investigation. There were crimes that were committed, and people are going to face justice. There are no deals when it comes down to this. Bill Barr knows that we are getting very close to the election, and he is not working on anyone else's timeline. This is about gathering all of the information available to U.S. Attorney John Durham and to his team, and to present it in an adequate way so that the people who broke these laws and tried to entrap our president and ignored exculpatory information, and who made a mockery of the Department of Justice and the FBI, are going to see the inside of a courtroom, and after that, the inside of a jail cell. Now, he goes on to talk about the flimsy nature of the investigation, how they absolutely ignored the evidence showing that they had nothing to go on in terms of the investigations and that they should not have completed, but that clearly they ramped up in an effort to try to get Trump out of office as quickly as possible. It didn't work, and now we find ourselves here. Now, he also said that there are going to be public disclosures. Of course, there will be public disclosures because these indictments are going to be made public. You guys continue to hold the fort. This is not over yet. We are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and as long as it is, I will be here reporting on it for you. I can't wait to see what happens. All right, now, in regards to that document dump we received last Friday from the FBI, it is fair to surmise that the documents show an assessment of HRC's emails were performed by the ODNI, the NSC, and the State Department back in October of 2009. Why is that relevant? Well, the ODNI, the NSC, and the State Department have been the ones primarily pushing back against the president. So it makes a lot of sense. They're the ones who had things to hide. Now, this document dump that came from the FBI last Friday showed that the email abuse while she was Secretary of State was known to people in the administration. They contain a lot of outrageous information that should have been released years ago, and of course, corrupt cop Peter Strzok was involved. When I reviewed the documents, I saw he was already in there. Now, they released these notes and documents related to the Clinton email case last Friday. Long overdue. They should have been released a long time ago. And in one document in particular, a letter is written by former FBI agent and Clowns in America agent Peter Strzok asking for an assessment of Hillary's emails that was performed by the ODNI, the National Security Council, and the Department of State in October of 2009. Now, his letter request is dated January 2016. It's the same time that he was leading the bogus mid-year exam investigation into her emails. And how do we know it was bogus? Well, because she got off scot-free without any charges, despite the presence of numerous criminal offenses. Now, Strzok also requests that the receiver of his letter do not disclose the existence of the inquiry. He is actively trying to cover it up. The letter indicates that there was an assessment, and then they absolutely buried it. They didn't want anybody to know, and she continued to use her private email server. Now, as I stated in the introduction, there was also an email between Ben Rhodes and Jake Sullivan where they laugh off the fact that they are liars and leakers, and the information that they're putting out about Benghazi, and that all information that came from the government on Benghazi was absolutely fictitious. I covered some of that over this past weekend, so if you guys want to check that out, I will leave a link down below, and you can look at the documents yourself. They're available on the FBI Vault's website. Now, here on the screen on the right, that is Ben Rhodes. He is the man who was absolutely stunned after President Trump won, probably because he knew he had committed many, many crimes. And then on the left, that is Jake Sullivan. Now, after the FBI released these documents early Friday morning, I was taking a look through them, and I saw that there was an interesting email thread. Actually, I should give credit. My buddy Monty sent it over initially. Now, here in the email thread, they said, "We're only lying foot soldiers. You're lying masterminds. That's cooler." They also said, "At least you're only a liar. Could be worse. We're liars and also allegedly leakers." So you've got that going for you, which is something. Now, these emails were sent before the 2012 election and after the event in Benghazi where 4 Americans lost their lives to a terrible group of people. And of course, the Obama administration made up a lie saying that they were riled up by a video on YouTube. That was a totally made up story. These two were admitting their corrupt and dishonest lies while they were in the Obama administration. The more that comes out, the more corruption and crimes committed by that administration becomes public. It's an absolutely disgusting thing to think that they led our country for 8 years. All right, guys, and finally, I have this thread here from Brian Cates, along with a bit of a theory of my own. Now, remember, we had that press conference on June 4th with Attorney General Barr, FBI Director Wray, the U.S. Marshals, and some other federal agencies in attendance. Now, Barr said that the federal response to that organization that is leading the riots and looting throughout the country is being facilitated through the 56 FBI Joint Terrorism task forces embedded within all 56 of the FBI field offices across America. Now, Brian points out that federal agencies are not limited to just the FBI. There are multiple agencies involved with this. That would be the U.S. Marshals, the ATF, the Bureau of Prisons with trained riot squads, and also the DEA. Now, President Trump put on a show for 3 days by shuffling 2 to 3 military units around where the press could see them. That would be the 86th Airborne and the 1st Cavalry. And while reporters and DIMS were freaked out about that, distracting themselves quite nicely, President Trump and Attorney General Barr continued to coordinate the response of multiple federal agencies being coordinated just to get to the riot scenes through the FBI's JTTF. Everything is in place now so they can go ahead and announce it, and the tactical units from the FBI, ATF, Bureau of Prisons, DEA, and U.S. Marshals, and other federal agencies have now been successfully dispersed and positioned. President Trump was never going to use the U.S. military to go in and stop the rioting. He put on a dog and pony show to keep all the usual suspects out of the way while stuff got done. Trump sending in the troops to stop the rioting. No, wait, the troops have been ordered back to the base. No, wait, the troops have been ordered to stay. They're not going back to the base. Nobody could figure out what was going on. You know what I say to that? A huge fight supposedly breaks out with Secretary of Defense Esper publicly challenging his boss's forthcoming decision to have the 86th affix bayonets and charge in after the rioters. I don't agree with invoking the Insurrection Act, Esper said yesterday. While the media squealed with glee and posted pictures of military units getting off of buses, getting back on them, etc., Attorney General Barr was facilitating tactical units from over a dozen federal agencies being transported and positioned all around the country. How many federal agencies have armed tactical units? Well, you might be surprised when you find out. The Bureau of Land Management has armed tactical teams. So does the Department of Agriculture. So does the Department of Education. So does the Railroad Retirement Board and the Office of Personnel Management and FEMA. This alarming trend was noticed a long time ago. Well, what Trump and Barr have done in this case is they've taken all these federal agencies, tactical SWAT units, and they're calling them up and using them. What the globalists intended to be used to subjugate Americans, guess what? President Trump is using it against them. Keep watching, and he continues, there it is. Barr openly acknowledged the tactical units of not only the FBI, but also the ATF, DEA, Bureau of Prisons, and about a dozen other federal agencies that will be directly utilized in going after and stopping the violent rioting and targeting the instigators. Barr is now calling up Wray to discuss the FBI tactical units, now all in full gear, and their involvement in stopping the rioting and looting in multiple cities in America. What is brilliant about this is that President Trump and all of these various federal agencies that have the ability to arrest people have been acting in secret. I think that the information that I was given about arrests beginning was part of this operation right here. If you'll remember, there was some footage going around this past week which showed some armed federal agents that did not actually identify themselves arresting people on the street, getting into an unmarked car, and then driving away and warning the people that were left there at the scene that they would go after them should they follow them. Now, what is really interesting about this is that I got another tip from someone whose name I cannot mention, but he said, according to him, what the government has done has been to secretly train and arm brand new federal agents, taking them to train and then bringing them back here for these secret operations as we begin to arrest the people who have the indictments against them unsealed. Now, the idea is that they're doing it in the same way that Eliot Ness did. They're taking people who have just entered the military and presumably federal agencies and making them part of this very sensitive and compartmentalized operation. By doing it this way, they're taking people directly from training, putting them right into the field, making them immediately part of this operation, not allowing them the opportunity to be corrupted and bought out by the deep state, which clearly has people all throughout every federal agency and every level of government. It's an absolutely brilliant thing to do, and I think that that is exactly what's happening. He's also told me that there have been some high-value people coming through there, high-value individuals. Can't confirm to me exactly who they are, but these are people who they want to keep a very close eye on. Now, if I had to guess where they were being taken, and I cannot say that I was told where they're being taken, but obviously we know that there was major upgrades done at where? Guantanamo Bay. Now, this would be the place you'd want to take people if they were engaging in insurrection against the government, trying to remove the democratically elected president of the United States of America, and trying to destroy this country and everything we stand for. So I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this story to see what comes up. I think it's also going to be very wise to be watching the unrest taking place around this country and even see if it continues. But as Attorney General Bill Barr said, they know the communication methods of this group, they know the financing means of this group, and they know who the leaders are. Given everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks, all of the unrest we've seen, this press conference that we had from Attorney General Barr, FBI Director Christopher Wray, and these other federal agencies, and the knowledge that we now have about their abilities to make arrests, and the secret operation to bring in brand new recruits and put them directly into the field to start doing arrests before they've been corrupted, right now would be the absolute best time to put something like this into action. I think it needs to happen before the election, and I think that there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes. Keep your eyes on this one, and I'll keep reporting. Finally, guys, if you want to check out the best highlights from that interview with Attorney General Barr, I'm going to leave this tweet thread from my buddy at AKA Real Dirty on Twitter. That would be Josh. Now, he does a great job of getting clips. He has this clip right here that was posted by our favorite Anon yesterday, where Barr says that it's a little annoying everyone is saying nothing has been done. The wheels of justice turn very slow, but don't think they won't be held accountable. And our favorite Anon said, the wait will soon be over. over. We are almost there, my friends, and even he has an opportunity to comment on Section 230. That's right, the publishers, like the one that I am broadcasting on right now, censoring conservative voices after building up a massive audience and a massive user base, pretending that they were here to help people get their point of view across, when instead they are censoring, they are blocking, and they are demonetizing. All right, my friends, I think that's all that I have for you today. Hopefully, I've given you a little bit of sunshine in a bleak and dreary world. The wait will soon be over. I certainly hope so. And I certainly hope that people like myself can continue to broadcast our thoughts and opinions and bring you the real news. If there is any way that you want to help out, you can always find that in the description below. I want to give a personal thank you to everyone who has came out to support the channel since I was demonetized last week. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, one more thing. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported the channel. If you're interested in doing more, there is always links in the description below. I have the merch store. Of course, I also have the backup channels. Please subscribe to those. If you take a look up here, you're going to see a couple of other videos. There's also a spot to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. And if you are subscribed, I ask you to please check and make sure that you're still subscribed and your notifications are turned on. Thank you everybody for watching the program, and I will see you tomorrow.